In 1962, a Mongolian geologist named Dambyn Tömör-Ochir wrote in his field journal that the southern Gobi was a place where even the stones seemed thirsty, a land so hostile to life that the very concept of agriculture there amounted to a kind of insanity. I am standing at the edge of what should not exist. Stretching before me, past a chain-link perimeter fence and a line of dust-caked transport trucks, sits a mango orchard. Not a greenhouse trial, not a university test patch, a functioning industrial-scale mango operation producing over 14,000 metric tons of fruit per year in the southern Gobi Desert of Inner Mongolia, China. The air is 41 degrees Celsius. The nearest river is 260 kilometers east. Annual rainfall here measures just 73 millimeters, less than a third of what a mango tree needs in a single month. And yet the branches sag with fruit. Alphonso-hybrid mangoes, their skins blushing gold and crimson under a sun so white it burns the horizon flat. 14,000 tons. That figure alone is staggering. It is more than the entire mango output of Israel, more than Greece, Turkey, and Portugal combined, all of it harvested from land that just 11 years ago registered a biological productivity index of near zero. I came here to understand how, but the deeper I dig into this place, the more I realize the real question is not how they built it, it is what it cost to keep it alive. This is the story of the Gobi Greenfield Mango Corridor, and to understand it, we need to go backwards, from this impossible harvest, through the engineering that sustains it, past the man who staked everything on a fruit tree in the sand, all the way back to the barren ground where none of this was supposed to begin. The harvesting floor operates in 3 rotating shifts, 22 hours a day, during peak season. Late July through early September, automated conveyors carry fruit from the orchard rows into a climate-controlled processing hall the length of 2 football pitches. Inside, mangoes are sorted by weight, color grade, and Brix sugar content using optical sensors imported from the Netherlands.
Each mango is photographed 11 times before it leaves this building. We know its sugar density to 1/10 of a degree Brix. We know its exact ripening window. The desert taught us that precision is not optional. It is the price of survival.
That is Dr. Chen Wei, Chief Agronomist and the Operational Architect of the Gobi Greenfield Project. He speaks the way engineers speak, in tolerances and thresholds. But there is something else beneath the data, something closer to stubbornness. Walk outside the processing hall, and the contradiction hits you physically. To the south, the orchard stretches in disciplined rows, drip lines threading between trunks like veins in a body, each tree sheltered by a curved polycarbonate windbreak, angled at precisely 17 degrees to deflect the prevailing northwest gales. To the north, nothing. Sand, gravel plains, a landscape so empty it swallows sound. The Gobi does not transition gently, it simply stops, and the orchard begins, and the line between the two is as sharp as a wound. From above, drone footage reveals the scale. 420 hectares of mango trees, arranged in a grid so precise it resembles a microchip printed on the desert floor. Surrounding them, a secondary ring of salt-tolerant windbreak species, tamarisk and saxaul, planted not for harvest but for defense, absorbing the sandstorms that roll in from the Mongolian steppe every spring. The operation employs 1,100 workers during peak season, 340 year-round. Its annual water consumption is staggering, and that is where the first crack in this bright picture begins to show. Rewind 4 years from the harvest floor to the engineering phase that made all of this possible, and the picture shifts from triumph to obsession. Mangoes require between 1,200 and 1,500 millimeters of water per year. The Gobi receives 73. The math is brutal. You need roughly 20 times more water than the sky will ever give you.
When they first drilled, everyone in Dalanzadgad said they were pulling ghosts from the ground. Water that old, it belongs to the earth, not to a mango.
That is Batbayar Enktergal, a foreman from the nearby town who has worked the site since its construction phase. He oversees the underground irrigation teams, the crews responsible for maintaining the system that keeps every tree on this farm alive. The Gobi Greenfield project draws its water from a deep Cretaceous aquifer, a fossil water reserve sitting between 700 and 1,100 meters beneath the desert surface. This is ancient water. Isotope dating places its origin at roughly 35,000 years old. It last saw daylight when woolly mammoths still roamed Central Asia.
72 boreholes, each cased in stainless steel and driven nearly a kilometer down, pull approximately 19 million cubic meters of water per year from this aquifer. Every liter is pumped to the surface, filtered through a 4-stage reverse osmosis system to strip excess mineral content, chilled to 14 degrees Celsius, and distributed through 612 kilometers of subsurface drip line buried 30 centimeters below each tree's root zone. Not a single drop touches open air. In a desert where evaporation can claim 80% of exposed water in under 6 hours, the entire irrigation network runs underground.
People hear irrigation and think sprinklers. That is not what this is. This is a closed vascular system. The farm is the organism. The water is its blood. If one junction fails, if one pressure sensor misreads, we lose a row in 48 hours.
19 million cubic meters per year. That number sits quietly in the operational reports, but it carries a weight that grows heavier each season. Because fossil water does not replenish, it is not fed by rain or snowmelt. What is drawn from the aquifer is gone, on timescales measured in geological epochs, not fiscal years. Independent hydrogeologists surveying the region in 2024 estimated the aquifer's accessible reserve at roughly 600 million cubic meters. At the current extraction rate, that is a 31-year supply, perhaps less if the operation expands as planned. 31 years for a farm designed to last generations. Before the boreholes, before the drip lines and the Dutch optical sorters, before a single mango seed touched Gobi soil, there was a conference room in Hohhot, the capital of Inner Mongolia, and a man with a slide deck that most of the people in that room considered delusional. Dr. Chen Wei was 43 years old in 2013 when he first proposed the Gobi Greenfield concept to the Inner Mongolia Agricultural Development Bureau. His background was in controlled environment horticulture. He had spent a decade engineering hydroponic lettuce systems for commercial greenhouses in Shandong province. Profitable work, respectable. But Chen had visited the Negev desert in Israel in 2011, toured the date palm plantations near Arava, and returned with an idea that would not leave him alone.
I remember standing in the Negev, watching a farmer pull perfect bejeweled dates from sand that looked identical to the sand outside my grandmother's house in Bayanur. Same alkalinity, same wind, same nothing. And I thought, if they can do this here, we can do it there. We must do it there.
His initial proposal was rejected, then rejected again. The Agricultural Bureau called it speculative. Private investors called it a vanity project. The Regional Water Authority refused even to grant a survey permit for the aquifer. Chen spent 3 years building a coalition, partnering with Tsinghua University's Arid Agriculture Lab, securing a pilot grant from a Shenzhen-based agritech venture fund, and recruiting a small team of irrigation engineers from Israel's Netafim Corporation. In 2016, the first 40 hectares were cleared, windbreaks planted, boreholes drilled, and the first 500 Alphonso-hybrid saplings, grafted specifically for heat tolerance and low humidity, were placed into the ground.
The first summer, we lost 212 of the 500. The wind stripped the leaves. The roots could not hold in that soil. Dr. Chen did not sleep for a week. He walked the rows with a thermometer and a notebook, measuring the temperature at the base of every dead tree, writing down what killed it.
212 trees, a 42% mortality rate. But the remaining 288 survived, and the following spring, 71 of them fruited. Mangoes. In the Gobi Desert, small, undersized, their flesh pale and fibrous, nothing that would pass a commercial grade inspection, but fruit, living proof that the biology could work if the engineering held. That pilot harvest weighed just under 400 kilograms, barely a footnote. Today, 11 years later, the operation produces 14,000 metric tons annually from over 370,000 mature trees. The scale of that leap from 400 kilograms to 14,000 tons is not simply growth. It is a kind of agricultural defiance that requires its own vocabulary. Chapter 5. What the Desert Takes. Rewind further now, not to the planting, but to the land itself, before any human hand reshaped it, and listen to what the Gobi has always been saying.
Winter surface temperatures in the southern Gobi reach minus 38 degrees Celsius. Every mango tree on this farm, every root system, every drip line must survive that. The polycarbonate windbreaks are fitted with integrated heating cables that activate below minus 15 degrees, drawing power from a 62 megawatt solar array built on adjacent land. The energy cost of winter protection alone accounts for 23% of the farm's total annual operating budget. Heating cables, thermal blankets, root zone warmers. The desert does not negotiate with seasons. It swings from furnace to freezer, and every swing is a threat. Then there is the dust. Gobi sandstorms carry particulate matter at densities exceeding 5,000 micrograms per cubic meter, 50 times the level considered hazardous for human respiration. 3 times per season, on average, a major storm forces the entire operation to shut down. Workers retreat to sealed quarters. Harvesting stops. The optical sorters are sealed under positive pressure enclosures. You hear it before you see it. A sound like an engine, deep and low. Then the sky turns brown. Visibility drops to arm's length. The last storm in June, it lasted 41 hours. When it passed, 6 hectares of windbreak tamarisks were stripped bare. Just stumps! The sand buries everything it can reach. 6 hectares of windbreak destroyed in a single storm. Those trees take 4 to 5 years to regrow to effective height. In the interim, the mango rows they protected are exposed, vulnerable to abrasion, desiccation, and the relentless mechanical force of wind-driven sand. And beneath all of this, beneath the storms and the freezing winters and the brutal operational costs, the aquifer clock ticks.
I do not pretend the water is infinite. I have read the hydrogeology reports. I know what 31 years means. Every season, I approve the extraction numbers, and every season, I am aware that I am spending something that cannot be earned back.
From the air, the farm is a rectangle of impossible green, pressed into a canvas of brown and gray. It is beautiful. It is also, in a certain light, an act of profound consumption, drawing on a resource that predates human civilization to produce a tropical fruit in a place that has never known tropical life. The parallel is uncomfortable. The very ingenuity that makes this farm a triumph of engineering also makes it a question. A 31-year water supply powering an operation designed to scale further. Expansion plans filed with the regional authority in 2025 call for an additional 200 hectares by 2030, which would increase aquifer draw by an estimated 40%. No one on the ground speaks about this lightly. Not Chen, not Bayar, not the hydrogeologists who published the assessment. The mood is not panic. It is the quiet tension of people who have built something extraordinary and know, somewhere in the foundation, there is a clock counting down. The last harvest trucks leave the processing hall at 9:15 in the evening, headlights cutting pale tunnels through airborne dust as they turn south toward the rail depot at Saint-Chand. The temperature has dropped to 27 degrees. The wind has settled. The drip lines hum faintly beneath the soil, carrying their ancient water to roots that grip sand the way a fist grips something borrowed. I have spent 9 days on this farm. I have walked the orchard rows at dawn when the mangoes glow amber against a pink horizon. I have sat in the control room watching real-time pressure readings from 700 meters underground. I have eaten a mango picked that morning. Dense, sweet, with a floral note that a fruit scientist later told me results from the extreme diurnal temperature swings unique to this desert. The Gobi Greenfield project is, by any measurable standard, an achievement without precedent. 14,000 metric tons of mango from a landscape with a biological productivity index that rounds to 0. Over 370,000 trees sustained by engineering so precise it monitors soil moisture to the milliliter. A workforce of 1,100 people, many from communities where seasonal employment was once the only kind. And it is also a farm running on time that cannot be renewed. A marvel built on fossil water, water older than agriculture itself, older than the languages we use to describe agriculture, drawn upward and spent in service of a single generation's ambition.
My daughter asks me what I do. I tell her I grow fruit where fruit does not belong. She thinks it is magic. I tell her it is work. But sometimes at the end of the day, standing at the edge of the rows looking north into the empty, I think maybe she is right. Maybe it is a kind of magic. The kind you have to keep paying for.
Dambyn Tömör-Ochir, the geologist who called these stones thirsty, could not have imagined this orchard. He could not have imagined the water beneath his feet would one day be pulled a kilometer upward to feed a tree native to the tropics of South Asia. Whether that makes us brilliant or reckless or both is a question this desert is not equipped to answer. Somewhere below the sand, the aquifer is a little smaller tonight than it was this morning. Somewhere above it, a mango tree holds its fruit against a cooling sky, defying every rule the landscape ever set. And the harvest continues